Hey guys, welcome back to another video with Lim Reviews. So I've been receiving a lot of comments on my previous videos asking me if you should choose the Redmi Note 9S or the recently announced Realme 6i. So both devices are actually very similar to one another. They both cost approximately the same prices, and of course these prices will vary depending on your region. But in today's video, let me show you what really sets both devices apart and which device is actually better than the other. So let's go on with the video right away.
Alright, so to keep things consistent throughout the entire video, I'll keep the Redmi Note 9S to my left and the Realme 6i to my right. I'll be going straight to the point so I don't waste too much of your time. Hit that like button if you support this, and let's begin right away. First up, let's talk about design. Both devices have very different design languages. On my left, the Redmi Note 9S comes with a glass back that actually looks quite premium. The reflective and slightly curved back panel looks good, but it's a fingerprint magnet. The Realme 6i on the other hand is completely different. Although the back panel is completely plastic, it feels very smooth to the touch because of its matte finish. It's not as premium as the Redmi Note 9S, but I definitely appreciate the fact that you don't have fingerprints all over the device. Moving on to the display, both devices use LCD display panels, but again, things are very different here. The Redmi has a slightly larger and sharper 1080p display. Images look sharp and clear on the Redmi Note 9S, but unfortunately, saturation and contrast levels are a bit low and sometimes images may look a little pale. On the other hand, the Realme 6i has excellent contrast and saturation levels. In fact, it is very similar to an AMOLED panel, but unfortunately, its resolution is only 720p. This means that images are not as sharp and you sometimes see some pixels on the display. I would say that both Redmi and Realme have their strengths here, but it is up to you to decide which you prefer. On to performance, both Redmi and Realme promises to deliver in terms of gaming with their processors, so let's talk about that first. The Redmi Note 9S uses the Snapdragon 720G, whereas the Realme 6i uses MediaTek's latest Helio G80. Using Mobile Legends and PUBG as an example, I am pleased to say that both games will run on both devices smoothly. The good news here is that you will not experience any lags, delays, and most importantly, no serious overheating on both devices. In terms of everyday use, both devices are actually very similar in terms of speed and smoothness. Let me show you a quick side-by-side app launch speed test. To keep things fair, I will close all apps on both devices before starting the test. Next, I'll go through a couple of apps that are used on the daily just to see how quickly it launches and closes. So as you can see here, the speed for launching and closing apps on both devices are almost identical, with the Redmi Note 9S just winning by a little bit. It's also worth mentioning that for games, the Redmi is quicker by a few seconds but not much. In terms of benchmark scores, the Redmi scored much higher than the Realme at 250k versus 200k. If you're just looking for a benchmark score winner, then obviously the Redmi wins here. However, in terms of day-to-day use, I would say that it is a tie as both devices offers great performance for their money here. Next, let's talk about the cameras on the Redmi Note 9S and Realme 6i. Both smartphones come with very similar specs, a 48 megapixel main sensor with an 8 megapixel wide angle sensor. In terms of image quality alone, I can summarize that the Redmi Note 9S takes better pictures for both day and night. Images looks more natural and has better color accuracy. As for the Realme 6i, it does take some good daytime shots, but when it comes to night shots, this is where it really struggles. Images are way too noisy and there is just not much detail here. Anyway, here are some samples for you to check out. Due to the lockdown, I am not able to shoot too many images, but these are just some images for you to reference. On to the selfie camera, once again, very similar stuff here. Both devices comes with 16 megapixel selfie cameras, but the main difference here is that the Realme has a wider sensor, making it able to capture more of you in the shot. In terms of color accuracy, the Redmi actually produces selfies that look more realistic. So again, it depends on which you prefer. Last but not least, let's talk about battery life. There's not much to say here because both comes with 5000 mAh batteries, which are able to last one full day on a single charge. Both the Redmi and Realme also comes with support for 18-watt charging, so charging speeds are similar. Screen on time is about 7 hours, and that's really impressive here. The Redmi and Realme are both winners when it comes to battery life. Alright, conclusion time. That's pretty quick, right? Which device should you buy? The Redmi Note 9S or the Realme 6i? Well, what I can say here is both devices have their own strong points. If you're looking for a budget phone with a better camera and a larger display, the Redmi Note 9S should be your choice. However, if you're looking for a budget phone with a great display, a smaller form factor, and if you don't usually take images at night, you can actually consider the Realme 6i as well. Either ways, they're both great smartphones and winners in their own right.